All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So the Las Vegas Raiders were going to hire Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. Apparently that deal fell through, and then about 24 hours ago, we saw the Raiders officially hire their offensive coordinator named Luke Getsy. Now, Luke Getsy was with the Chicago Bears for the past 2 seasons as their offensive coordinator. Prior to that, he was with the Green Bay Packers. He spent a ton of time in the college levels. He was a very good quarterback back in the day. And I gotta say, like, this would not have been my hire. I'm not Antonio Pierce. I'm not the Las Vegas Raiders. That's probably for a good thing. But to be quite honest with you, this does not suck to me. And we're going to talk about why in tonight's video. What does suck to me is that the deal with Cliff Kingsbury fell through. That's what really sucks. Luke Getsy's interesting, and take it from somebody who was born and bred in the Chicagoland area for the last 24 years. Coaches and players come to the Chicago Bears organization for my entire life and fail. And I think Justin Fields is a good quarterback, and I think Luke Getsy is a fine play caller. And I just want to say, as a Chicagoan, I think Luke Getsy got a bad rap. Now, I will say I am not completely enamored after watching all 17 Bears games this past season. I wasn't enamored by his play calling, but you can only deal with so much. And the Chicago Bears were a 3-win team that went to 7 wins, and it just isn't that bad of a hire. Like I said, what really sucks is that the Cliff Kingsbury deal fell through. So that's what we're going to be talking about in tonight's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with a couple of Raiders videos every single week. So Raiders fans, if you could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So with the Raiders, a team that went 8-9, a team that had Josh McDaniels at the start of this season. 1 year ago, 365 days ago, Josh McDaniels was the head coach of this team. Antonio Pierce completely flips it around, gets the defense playing at an elite level average, and now offensively, yes, they have some decisions to make, like free agent Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, depending on who you ask. But I gotta say, like I alluded to earlier on in the video, I don't think this is all that bad. I personally believe in second chances, and I think, especially men really only change if they need to change. And whether or not we look at the Bears' offense in the last 2 seasons as Luke Getsy's issue or a personnel issue or whatever, management, ownership, whatever it is, I think he deserves a second chance. And so, like I said, this pretty much really surprised me, but it was more so because I thought they were going with Cliff Kingsbury. So the first and most important thing the Raiders had to do in this offseason was find their guy at the offensive coordinator position. They got the GM, Tom Telesco. They hired their coach, Antonio Pierce. And the next job became who's going to run and orchestrate this offense. We spent weeks, it feels like at least a month now, but we spent weeks murmuring about who the OC was going to be. So now it's officially Luke Getsy. One thing I loved about Luke Getsy in the past 2 years with the Chicago Bears was their rush attack. All right. Now we can sit here and we can hypothesize or theorize. We can go through, rabbit holes. We can talk about why maybe it's going to be Aiden O'Connell. Maybe it's going to be Kirk Cousins. Maybe it's going to be Justin Fields, which, by the way, they're not going to trade for Justin Fields anymore. Maybe it's going to be Caleb Williams. Maybe it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Maybe it's going to be Michael Penix Jr., whatever it is. But here's the thing. The Raiders have holes outside of the quarterback position, and one of them was the running back room. Now, the running back room is interesting because I have Josh Jacobs, who at this point is a year removed from being the NFL's leading rusher, right? 2 years ago, at this point, 1 year ago, he was coming off the best season of his career, and he looked like a superstar freaking running back. Well, he dealt with injuries this year. The offensive line wasn't helping him out, and Josh McDaniels certainly wasn't helping him out. And then when Josh gets fired and they turn to Aiden O'Connell, Josh Jacobs dealt with some injury concerns or some injury issues. The Chicago Bears offense Now, granted, I will say Justin Fields is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the National Football League. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. Is the Bears have been a top 3 rushing attack in the last 2 seasons. And it's not just Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert, Rashawn Johnson, even Dante Foreman this past season for him. The point still stands. The Chicago Bears have had a very good rushing attack. Now, like I said, it's tricky with the Raiders because of all the Josh McDaniel stuff. It's kind of weird to evaluate the Raiders' offensive season because of all the moving parts, right? But at the end of the day, stats don't help the Raiders run statistics. They were the 3rd worst rushing attack in the National Football League this season. And, we can sit here and throw ourselves a pity party and say it was Josh McDaniel's fault. It was the offensive line's fault. It was the injuries' fault, whatever it is. Zamir White, who looked like a cut candidate up until like the final 6 weeks of the regular season, it just needs to change, right? And whether that change is Josh Jacobs not coming back, whether it's bringing Josh Jacobs and Zamir White back, whatever that's going to be, one thing I am excited about and hopeful for is the Raiders rushing unit this upcoming season. Like I said, no matter what the running back room's actually looking like, Luke Getsy and the Chicago Bears had a very good, in fact, a great running group in the last 2 seasons where he was the offensive coordinator there. So you do have to make a decision on Josh Jacobs. 233 carries, 805 yards, only averaged 3.4 yards per carry. I have a hard time imagining Josh Jacobs is back. I think CMC, here's the thing. Here's what really sucks. Josh Jacobs will be 26 in like a week from now, which isn't old, but it's not young. And there's some really good running backs in the National Football League, but like I can really only think of off the top of my head of CMC, who's an actual difference maker at that position. So I love Josh Jacobs, and I want Josh Jacobs to be back. I want them to lock him up, but I don't think he will be back. So I think it will be Zamir White, maybe a veteran running back, maybe a rookie running back, just like Zamir was a couple of seasons ago. But like I said, Zamir White looked like a cut candidate 6 weeks ago. But then he had 112 rushing yards against a great Denver defense. He had 71 against Indy. He had 145 yards and pretty much won that game out like with the defense. 145 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs rushing defense. Like, I'm going to take that. And then the week prior to that, when he was fully implemented as the Raiders starting running back, he had 69 yards against the Chargers in that 63-point game. So the point is this. Is this my first offensive coordinator hired? No, but that's okay because I think he deserves another chance and I think he's up for the opportunity. I think he's a good offensive mind. And I do like what he's going to bring to the running back room. Now, as far as the QB goes, we've been talking about that, and we're going to be talking about that for the next several weeks up until the NFL draft. So stay tuned, but hit that like button, hit that sub button. But most importantly, guys, Bears fans, Raiders fans, Packers fans, and by the way, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers loved Luke Getsy. I think that should not be understated. But give me your opinions on the Raiders hiring Luke Getsy. Anything you have to say, drop it down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you tomorrow.